Mentor's testimony today?
I think what's key is used it as a comparison of what we saw last week from Gupta Jonas. One thing that struck me last week was Jonas was very organized. He had studied the material, studied his affidavits. He had it in front of him while he was giving evidence. I was very worried today about the witness on the box. In terms of preparation, referring to the script as per the affidavits she'd already made, I think she could have done a bit better and focused more on the subject matter instead of amplifying, describing the look of rooms, etc. I think it was quite distracting for the witness. I worry under cross-examination how such a witness would fare.
And I want to talk about that, the holes in Mentor's testimony today and how she seemed to focus on what many would consider more trivial aspects to her engagement or alleged engagement with the Guptas. Do you think she's done enough damage today to her testimony for her to be rendered a witness that the Commission cannot rely on?
I will try not to comment about the quality or integrity of the witness at this stage. I think let's let the proceedings run. I think, however, the proof of the pudding will be in the cross-examination and her ability to sustain cross-examination on substance and fact. Most of the witnesses thus far, at least the two thus far, that have been implicating people, have given their perspective without much backup in terms of independent witnesses who are also present to back their stories up. I think this is a very difficult matter going forward. Corroboration is going to be a real tricky matter for the leaders of evidence for the Commission.
So that would mean then that it's quite important that now, based on this application by Lakela Kaunda, that those who wish to cross-examine witnesses based on being implicated must then also be cross-examined so we can cross-check the facts, if you will.
Absolutely. If you want to cross-examine, you've also got to put forward your story in terms of your observations and your differences to what the witness has to say. You can't give your evidence through cross-examination. You must give your evidence and then allow the presenters of the evidence for the Commission to cross-examine you in turn. So you can't just go and rock up there and say, I'm here to cross-examine you, and I myself have not much to give as my evidence-in-chief. You've got to give your evidence-in-chief.
I'm curious, Professor Goss, about the level of preparation that one would follow in trying to get a witness ready to appear at through such a process.
These are difficult matters. This matter runs years. I mean, today's witness gave evidence about matters that took place in 2010 already. I mean, this is very difficult to leave to memory. So it's very important that a witness sticks to the script as in, I've made an affidavit, I've reflected on the following matters in my affidavit. I got a sense today also that we deviated from the content of the affidavit from time to time. And that's quite a dangerous way to go about giving evidence. You distract yourself with the soft issues, the non-relevant facts in the matter. You've got to stick to the facts at issue. If you stick to the facts at issue, your evidence stays simple. If your evidence stays simple, you can keep it consistent. And under cross-examination, if your evidence isn't simple, you leave the door open to be exposed as an unreliable witness or to be exposed in terms of gaps in your evidence.
So what would happen then in these hours if you were to advise Mentor over the coming hours ahead of her reappearance tomorrow morning? What needs to happen, especially now that we are aware that there is an application to cross-examine her at some point?
I think there's an application to cross-examine everyone at every point. I'm certain about this. I mean, nobody would stand back having been incriminated by a single witness and not want to give their side of the story and explain what actually took place from their perspective. If I were her, what I'd be doing tonight is making sure I go back to my original affidavit, understand exactly what I've said thus far, and progress from there with what I would say tomorrow. It's allowed in matters that are so aged and memory is tainted over time, memory fades, that you're allowed to refresh your memory from the affidavit you've made in the past and the evidence you've given. So I would certainly spend my energy tonight having a good look at what I have to say tomorrow and what I've said already.
Professor Peter Goss, thank you so much for your time today.